one school district in Pennsylvania wanted to find a better solution to arming their teachers. Now, they want to help their students and teachers defend themselves if there is someone attacking them or if there's a mass shooter on campus, but they don't want to arm the teachers. So the solution was to offer a bucket of rocks. And I'm not kidding. Now, this is
from The Onion, right?
No, this is a real story. And
it's from Clickhole?
Look, before I am very conflicted about this story because while I completely agree that it is absurd to arm teachers with rocks, I think that the superintendent and the administrators who signed on to this had their hearts in the right place.
They have to do something.
They wanted to do something, and
they're between a bucket of rocks and a hard place.
They really are, and I don't want to criticize them too aggressively because they're already dealing with crazy violent threats because of their proposal. So let me give you more details.
They're casting the first stone.
Stop it.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, yeah.
All right, so Blue Mountain School District Superintendent David Helsel commented last week that the district would be arming teachers with a 5-gallon bucket of landscaping stones in each classroom. I'm glad that it's landscaping stones, a little more, they tend to have a little more...
ballistic capability?
Yes.
I'm more worried about the political landscape, personally.
By the way, I don't know what landscaping stones are like at all. I don't know what they
they're
look
stones
like.
that you use for like edging paths and things like that. I don't know for sure, but I think that's.
Are they smooth or are they jagged?
I'm gonna guess that they're smooth. I don't know.
Aerodynamic.
Look, yeah, I would say that strong self-defense experts, they're not sure if you go for the jagged ones, less accurate, does more damage. But the smoother rocks, they sail true, and also they skip better on the water.
They do.
They're multi-purpose
They
rocks.
do. Okay, let me give you more details. So after this bucket of rocks thing made headlines, apparently the school started the school district started receiving threats, and they had to increase security. So now.
So they had to give buckets of rocks to the security.
Now they have armed guards. For the schools. So here is a statement from the superintendent. This attention was due to social media posts that took comments out of context and misrepresented our actual planned response to armed intruders. Starting tomorrow and into the near future, we have arranged for additional armed security for our buildings. He also said that the rocks would be a last-ditch measure and that
they were found in ditches too, by the way, the rocks. Anyway, sorry.
I shouldn't be hitting you on camera.
Yeah. Don't stone me. Okay,
if you had a landscaping stone, you could have defended yourself.
I could. I have nothing now.
Now he said that the rocks would be a last-ditch effort, and said that it was better than doing nothing. He also said that the plan was first implemented last fall. So this is not a new thing. This is something that was implemented last fall, and And
if you do something stupid, you're only able to be criticized inside of a week of doing it. If it was older, you're not allowed to say anything.
I think this was all a plot to get armed guards onto their campuses.
Yeah.
They're like, we really want armed teachers, but we can't make it happen. So why don't we put out a ridiculous proposal and then, of course, violent, crazy people will threaten us with violent, crazy things, and then we'll get the armed guards.
I think it's either that or the president's brother owns a landscaping store or something.
Can you imagine if there's a government contract, for
rocks.
public schools and landscaping, stones?
Yeah, so I get what you're saying, that we shouldn't criticize them too much, that they're trying to do inside of the means of whatever, blah, 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 and it is better than nothing. Give them a stick then. A stick is better than nothing. Maybe we can set tiger traps in the hallways or something. We can do we can use vine lassos against the guy. There's a whole lot of stupid things that we can do, or we can do something smart. And as I've talked about before, I like to imagine if you had 100 yards of possible ways you could stop a shooting. In the first big section, you have all of the social changes, cultural changes, and legal changes we could make to make it less likely that somebody would want to resort to this. After all, we know that in a lot of other countries, they don't try to commit attacks like this. And certainly there's all sorts of legal remedies to make it harder to get a gun or impossible to get a gun, or empower police and mental health care officials and stuff like that to take the guns away. And we seem to have ceded the first 97 yards out of those 100, and we focus on, he's in the school, what can we do to stop him? And that is such an epic surrender. that we would allow it to get to that point before we act as a society.
But can you blame school districts for thinking about things in those terms?
The principal doesn't have control over those. I get that. But when he says it's better than nothing, that's fine. Let's not put them in a position where they have to do something that's better than nothing. Let's do something that's just better.
Right. And
something that's good.
I totally agree with you. Final point that I want to make is that if I am an educator who is confronted with someone who has an AR-15, the last thing I'm going to do is throw a landscaping stone in his direction. I just feel like that would probably encourage him to continue opening fire or target me specifically. So
yeah, and by the like, if it comes to throwing things, there are things to throw. You can throw stuff. It just seems stupid that like you're like, hey, we're gonna tour this new school. We walk in, there's a bucket of rocks there. Oh, aren't we a modern, advanced society?
If you want to get the whole Young Turks show every single day, become a member. tytnetwork.com/join. And once you do, you'll be saying,
you know, I'm like a smart person.
Or you might say,
I think it's weird.
Or you might say,
oops.
No, that won't be that one. It won't be that one. It'll be great, trust me. tytnetwork.com/join.